No one talks about how Muhammad and his companions started the longest and most brutal slave trade in human history, worse than the United States slavery we were taught about. It's called the Arab-Muslim slave trade. It lasted over 1,300 years, which is the longest slave trade in human history. The transatlantic slave trade only lasted 246 years. It started immediately after Muhammad passed away in 632 AD and continued into the late 20th century. Pre-Islamic Arabia already had slavery, but Muhammad's companions massively expanded it. For example, his friend Uthman made a treaty with Nubia that required them to send 360 slaves each year in exchange for peace. These enslaved people were then distributed across major Islamic cities such as Mecca, Medina, and Basra. The Quran that you have today was actually brought to you by this man, Uthman, because after Muhammad's death, he standardized one version of the Quran and burned all the other versions, even though Muhammad said that all versions were valid. But continuing on, Islamic law made it illegal to enslave Muslims, but it allowed and even encouraged enslaving non-Muslims. So Arab Muslims raided sub-Saharan Africa for 13 centuries without stopping. Scholars estimate that they took around 13 million Africans, men, women, and children, but estimates go as high as 18 million. They were marched across the Sahara or shipped across the Indian Ocean in journeys that could last as long as 3 months. Half of them died during transit due to hunger, thirst, and disease. If you've ever read any Islamic hadiths, then you wouldn't be surprised to learn that the traders especially wanted women and girls for concubinage. The ratio was often 3 women for every man. Female slaves were so valuable that they often sold for double the price. That's why it's not really surprising when we see all these Muslim men calling women they don't like concubines as an insult.
I'd make you my concubine. I'd make you my concubine. I'd grab you from the back of your head. You'd like it.
You're saying that, yeah, whatever. You're just representing your mother because your mother raised you. You're just representing her.
Go ahead. Absolute filthy concubine, bottom of the barrel.
These African girls were taken to harems in Oman, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Iran, where Arab men had children with them. But what happened to the men will also haunt you. The men were often castrated, tortured, or so broken by the horrors that many of the ones who survived later unalived themselves. The black African men and boys were often castrated so that they couldn't reproduce. They were stereotyped as having high libidos, and the slave masters didn't want them sleeping with the concubines. Historians say that up to 70% of them died from the castration procedure alone. The ones that survived were used as guards for the very harems filled with their own women. So in summary, Arab owners slept with the enslaved African women, which are the black Arabs that you still see in some countries today. But the African men were deliberately prevented from having families. An entire generation altered forever. While the vast majority of the slaves were black, they were also Europeans, Turks, Slavs, Berbers, and Caucasians, and ethnicity influenced their value. You even see in one Islamic hadith that Muhammad sold 2 black slaves in return for a non-black slave. So if we are going to discuss slavery in the US, which was absolutely devastating and heartbreaking, then we have no excuse not to talk about the Arab-Muslim slave trade. The United States ended slavery in 1865, but Arab countries kept the trade going well into the late 1900s. In some places like Malawi, it wasn't even made illegal until 2007. There's even evidence that it's still going on today. Most Muslims today have no idea that this happened, or they're told to stay silent about it, because acknowledging it would mean facing the fact that this horror was justified and sustained by the religion that they follow. So I genuinely don't understand why Islamophobia is even a term, when Islam is the reason for this atrocity and non-Muslims were literally the target victims. Furthermore, Christians are actually the most persecuted religious group in the world. Who's the one doing the persecution? I think you already know the answer to that. Am I saying that all Muslims are violent? Absolutely not. In fact, most of them are peaceful. Am I saying that this ideology is violent and that it cannot possibly be from God? 100%. Please share this hidden side of history because I truly believe that more people need to know about it. If you are a content creator yourself and feel called to do so, please consider making your own video about it, but no pressure at all. And of course, feel free to share this video and information wherever you'd like, and that goes for all my videos. Jesus loves you, and he is waiting for you.
Guys, what is your opinion about this video? Drop your comments. You are invited. Like, share, and follow.